Okay. I'm a little thirsty here. That's all I have been looking into inversions a whole lot lately. Played around with them in the past since way before my daughter was born, just on playground tools and poles and whatnot for fun. And it's always been more of an acrobatic thing for me. But lately, I've been looking more into what benefits they have as far as health goes. I've had issues with my back plenty of times, mostly my spine. And if you ever checked out my profile, my posture is, decent, but my atlas vertebrae, the vertebrae that holds up the world, as atlas would be, or your skull rather, it's fused to my skull, so I have a natural tilt. The flexion in my neck isn't quite what it could be, and that causes all sorts of issues for my neck in particular. So I got to train that a whole lot, and being able to get some traction on your spine really helps, and one of the best ways to do that is with inversion. You can also use other tools like I've seen. Actually, I had one. There's a harness that will pull your neck up, and a lot of chiropractors use those, and you can get them for the home. But I'm not a huge fan, quite honestly. It's just not something I'm crazy about. So I've used other tools. Basically, what I'm going to go over through all this is, yes, we'll go through some acrobatic kind of things as far as inversions go. I think I put a video of me doing a little inversion on the pole, and some other, more known exercises like doing handstands, which I haven't perfected yet, but there's plenty of information out there, and ab workouts and that kind of thing. But we'll also go for health, and then what I've been really excited about lately has been actually their benefits in the martial form. I enjoy doing all kinds of grappling arts. It's been becoming an increasingly bigger and bigger passion for me lately, and I found out that adding inversions into your grappling game significantly improves your chances. Not just in general, but more focused on training partners that are larger in size than you. I'm relatively powerful for my size, but I'm still under 6 feet tall and under 170 pounds, and if I want to go toe to toe with somebody that's, say, 200 pounds, it's got over 30 pounds on me, and many people have even more than that, my upper body against their upper body is never going to be a winning situation. That said, I think all of us, just with the sake of common sense, if you put your lower body against someone's upper body, they have to be significantly larger than you in size to overpower you, and at least in a war of attrition. They're going to need to be about twice your body weight, and they better have some muscular endurance to come along with that. Everyone's lower body is just very powerful. Even if you don't really train, just walking around is gonna help you a lot. So with that said, I'll get right into it. We'll kind of make this like a progression of easy to harder kind of things. The first thing I'll go over is just a really simple yoga pose that I picked up. Again, this is really great for draining the lymphatic system. It gives a little bit of traction on the spine and the lower back, but I think the more important thing is giving your lymphatic system a rest. You know, your body is always pumping, you know, blood and lymph, included, throughout your system, and it gets to do that while you're standing up. It gets to do that while you're horizontal for bed and all that. But we don't do it as much for being upside down. And you know, your heart is pumped, and it is going to work everything through your system eventually. But you can speed up that process by inverting, going upside down, getting your heart over your head, and that's why if you ever stayed upside down for any small amount of time, and especially on somebody like me that flushes really easy, you'll see that in a minute, blood will rush to your head, and that's why you often end up having that head rush feeling coming out of being upside down. When mentioning that, before I do anything, I should mention that if you have any type of head injuries, bad neck, and we're going to go over ways to avoid doing anything with our neck that's going to put strain on it. Any type of head trauma, you might have some trouble with these, and you should probably avoid them. But the legs up the wall one is very safe for just about anybody. Check with your doctor. I'm not a doctor, but we'll start there. So I'm gonna adjust the camera a little bit here, and we'll get a decent view. Hopefully this is working out for me. Again, we'll get into more of the martial forms here in a little bit, but just for right now, legs up the wall, very simple, get the lower back off the ground. Just a silly thing. And leaving ourselves here, if you haven't done this a lot, you know, 2 to 4 minutes is probably really good, and maybe even less than that. It's not something you want to rush yourself into, and I'm gonna go into easier tools that I found. So this is the basic. I'm releasing a little bit of pressure off my lower back, and that's great, and all that. And just about anyone can do this. There's no stress on my neck. The only thing we're doing is taking a little pressure off the lower back, and my lymph. There's a lot of lymph in your feet. Getting that fluid a little extra push. This will drain a lot of toxins out of your body, just in bacteria and viruses, which is very important. As we all know, there's a whole lot of information out there about different types of viruses. I'm not as concerned with the whole COVID-19 one as I am just in general with all viruses out there. We had somebody in my family die of I believe it was pneumonia. All these things are dangerous if your immune system is compromised. That's the thing about viruses and any sickness. Common cold can kill you if you're in bad enough shape. and that has, that danger only increases as you get older, as you have weight issues, anytime you're in a bad health situation, or you're just tired and stressed out and all that, anything can get you. So doing this practice is great. I've got another tool that I also use. Obviously, this one's for free, just about everybody's got a pillow. I've got this other thing, I think it's called a feet up. And it's nice. I like it to a certain extent. It looks kind of like honestly, it looks like a toilet to me. There's another attachment to make it look more like a stool and all that, but it looks like a toilet. But the nice thing about this is we can go and just put all our weight on our shoulders and our hands, stabilize ourselves, and you go straight up. And I like this one because you're definitely getting a lot more pressure off your lower spine and your legs as well. The only problem here is all that pressure is on your shoulders now. And, that's great for a lot of things as far as your health goes, but it seems like most people that I know, they either have lower disc issues or high upper back, and lower upper back seems to be more with people that are living sedentary office lifestyles, which I've done and I'm used to, and the athletes seem to have more upper back and neck issues, and that's a killer. Like those aren't fun, because the second you get something in your upper back or your neck or your shoulder, doesn't matter which one, it all seems to just travel from shoulder to neck to upper back, and it's just a nightmare. And anytime that happens, I'm gonna quit. I don't sleep well. It's awful. And so there's another device that I have that I like even more. There's also, give me 1 second to grab that. So this one is more like a bat hang device. Excuse me, I'm thirsty and I'm worn out today. I shouldn't have worked out before this, but oh well. So what you do is you hang this on a pull-up bar. Once it's hanging on the pull-up bar, you use it to pull yourself up. You wedge your feet in here, and your knees go in front of this. So I'll demonstrate sideways, and then I'll do it on the pull-up bar inside. And you just walk that in and bat hang. There's also inversion tables, and listen, those are nice. Those are great, but they have a few flaws. This has flaws too. If you can't, from a pull-up bar, take your toes to your hands while you're hanging, this isn't going to work out for you. That's just how it is. You're going to have to do some more core workouts. So this is not for everybody. This is cheap. It's pretty well made, in all honesty, but your body has to be in tune for it. Otherwise, you want to use inversion table. And my problem with inversion tables is mostly they take up a lot of space. I think at this point, there's so many people that just get sick of how much space they take. You can find them on like Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or whatever, but it's just, it's a little much. There's just too much room that they take. But if you're having back problems, then you can't really beat it unless you want to go visit the chiropractor all the time. They make powered ones that you can plug into the wall and they'll do the inversion for you. But the unpowered ones, they're typically around $100 even used, and you're gonna have to either get some assistance from a friend or family member to help you up if you're not in really good shape with your core. But that's okay. So I do like those. Again, I prefer this. This cost me about $30. I'll post all the tools that I'm using later, and so you can catch up on it, or you can direct message me and I'll let you know where I got them. But yeah, if you're going on a budget, you've got the core for it. All you really need is a high enough pull-up bar to use this, and this is a great tool. I really like this one, especially after I've been smashed by some people that are 250 pounds. that's like 80, a little over 80 pounds on me. Yeah, being smaller and wanting to do grappling, and you're gonna get crushed, and you gotta take care of yourself. So I've covered that. We'll go into a little bit of the acrobatic things now. Let me get these out of the way real quick. So, foundational movement for all of gymnastics is the hollow body position, and this is the position that you want to use if you're going to do the handstand. I haven't perfected this at all, but just so you know, I'll go ahead and demonstrate it. I'm actually going to take my shirt off for this because it's not super easy to show about it. So, idea of hollow body position is, again, foundational movement for much of what gymnastics is. You're not in quite a straight line when you're doing the handstand. You're bent a little bit, but the key is your back is straight. And this is really hard to hold unless you do this all the time, and I just don't. So you can't relax and let your back bend, and you can do a banana handstand, but it's just not great. So what you want to do is have a straight back, and a pencil doesn't collapse as easy. Yeah, that's one nice thing about my floors is they make fart noises whenever you lay your back on there. Let's make a quick camera adjustment and move this really quick. Okay. Great. So handstand progressions, I found it easiest whenever I have been good at them. Again, if you want to learn handstands, the best person I know in my town for that is a guy named Matthew Hayden. He's phenomenal at them, and I haven't kept the discipline to really nail those yet. But what I do know is facing the direction of the wall and walking up that way, and then taking your feet and just going back and forth and holding that hollow body position, really pressing through your shoulders. That's a really good way to set yourself up for it. So, again, demonstrating that, you're just walking straight up. You're squeezing your glutes together, tight back, really pressing through, and then taking foot, back and forth against the wall. And eventually you can take your feet off the wall. Again, I'm not phenomenal at those, but it's more of a discipline thing. Like, if you keep up with those, you eventually get it. That's how it goes. Practice. Okay. And the other thing with pole stuff, I think I did that in a little post to highlight this video. We'll see if I have the energy to do it today. The prerequisite with that is, again, being able to take from a dead hang feet to your hands, and then from feet to hands up to your waist. So you should be hanging like this on a pole. That's going to be a little different, but that's the core strength required. Now, after you have the core strength required, there's one more thing. Yes, the hand placement is a little weird. You're going to be doing it like this or like this, depending on which shoulder you like to go on. I'm right side dominant, but I do everything on my left side because I'm a weirdo like that. But if you have the core strength for that, you're fine. What you really need to be able to do is handle the pain. Everything with poles seems to be all about pain, more than, like, yes, you need the core strength, the lat and everything in here, especially, and even a little bit of hips. But you got to be able to take a little pain while you're doing it. So I'll show that. We'll see if I can handle that right now. And one other thing, I feel silly with my shirt off and everything, but you can't do this with a slick shirt. It just won't work. I wish it would. So you either need something very dry, or you probably need like a tank top or something, because you need a strong pivot point, a lot of friction on here, and you need to make sure that you don't have a bunch of grease on here too. So just let this down. It's easier in parks. This metal in particular seems to be, well, a little slick. So again, all about the pain here. You force your shoulder into that. Hi, I see a spider friend. Give me 1 second. I have a visitor who's gonna jump on my face if I don't get rid of him real quick. Okay, sorry, spider buddy. That was gonna be really unpleasant for me, and better him than me. I love spiders. I love spiders in my house. They're probably doing a good job. They're one of the only things I don't kill on site. But yeah, I'm not taking a spider in the face. That's a little much for me. Okay, so again, really forcing that shoulder blade into the pole. Your hand, that's the same side as your shoulder, is going just above that. Other hand is going, both of them foot facing the same direction, thumbs going down, and forcing that shoulder in. You go straight up. And and yeah, you just have a good time sliding down. Okay. It takes a little getting used to, but really, it's not that bad. You just have to say, I'm gonna eat this, I'm gonna be better for it later. And the more you try and shy away from it, the more painful it is, the more likely you're gonna get injured. Just press your shoulder nice and tight in there and bring those legs straight up. I think I can put my shirt back on, so everybody will be really happy about that. Okay. Now, let's go to the martial form of this, which I'm much more excited about than anything else. Yes, the health benefits are really great. It gives your body a little extra health. It gives you a little bit different of a perspective on life and all that. But I'm really more excited about this for grappling, quite honestly. Again, when you're under 170 and you deal with people that are 200 or larger, I said this earlier, but I'll emphasize this again. My upper body versus their upper body is never going to win. And if I do, I'm going to be really, really tired afterwards. I'm not going to want to do much else after that. So work smarter, not harder. I'm going to use my buddy Bill over here. He's going to help me demonstrate something real quick, at least for a little bit. So Bill here, he's quite lazy. My friends at HITS let me borrow him. So that's it was really nice of them. I'm really happy that they could, but there's only so much I'm going to be able to do with him. Just because he's, again, very, very, very lazy. So thanks, Bill. So Bill's my training partner for right now. Again, we're going into a pretty typical grappling situation where I'm in a position called guard or missionary position, which some of you might find that a little more familiar. But yeah, they call this guard in Jiu-Jitsu. So right now, Bill's hips are higher than mine, which means Bill basically wins. Whenever I bring my hips over his, now I have the power. He has a much harder time hitting me. When down here, he has a much easier time hitting me. Hips up, above his, can't hit me. Below, can't hit me. Easy thing now. So there's even more exciting position for me. Let me check that camera real quick. Okay. There's another position I'm more excited about than this, which is called K control, and it's really big. It seems to be gaining ground among MMA fans. A lot of jiu-jitsu seems kind of silly when striking is introduced, because yeah, maybe you can hold somebody off in some positions, but whenever somebody can hit you in the face, it's no longer effective. I think what K control is good at is keeping striking power down to a minimum for the opposition, and it also gets you in a really great position to have your hips up high and put even more space with your legs with the opponent, and you can even like really brought them. It's like a really aggressive style of fighting from the bottom position, and it opens up all kinds of places to use triangles and arm bars, and I don't really have it all worked out yet, but like the more I do it, the more I love it, and I can't get enough of it. And really, you can attack it from the guard. I'm a big guard player. I got used to rolling with a couple guys that were bigger and very aggressive and had a lot more power, and because I knew that I was never gonna beat them power-wise, I got used to being on my back, unfortunately, and being the weaker person. It made me want to look at styles of fighting that let me take the fight to them and be the aggressor from the bottom. So K control looks like this. We're only going to be able to do so much with Bill because, again, he's very lazy, and yeah, he'll just fall over. He's about worthless. So from your typical guard position, you know, you're always messing with the person up here. What I like to do is either push a hand in, or maybe I'll grab under the shoulder and I'll pull them up. But the idea is just to get them up high and a little off balance, so I can come in here. I like to go on the right side and hook under the leg and get my hips here. Again, Bill's lazy, and this is about where he's going to drop off. The same concept with the hips being higher than the other person's hips. See, he's done. I can't even take my hips up. But since I showed that position, again, the guy who seems to have founded it, his name is Neil Melanison. Big on MMA. He's got a whole lot of information on K control. He can show you the position, but I'm gonna move from there to using this pole again as my anchor point, because Bill's done. It's quite heavy too for somebody as lazy as he is. So again, I like to go on the right side. You might like to go on the left. You know, with a rubber guard, I like to go on my left side. With this, I like to go on my right. I'm not quite sure why, but that's how I do it. So let's pretend we're back in K control. We're going to visualize this as our training partner. I'm going to be in that position of hooking the leg. This foot is running back, and now we got something stable, so now I can get my hips over their hips. Now I can get into the inversion part, okay? So obviously I'm inverted. This is nice. It's a little uncomfortable for me, but I have my weight on my shoulder, not on my neck. See, my head can move all over the place. That means I'm not screwing my whole life up. We don't want to do any positions that are going to ruin ourselves. You know, if you're unless it's a competition, I'm not going to hurt myself in training. So yeah, for inversions and grappling, it seems to be all about hamstring flexibility, and maybe there's a little bit in the neck, but mostly it's just hamstring flexibility and knowing how to bridge up on your shoulders, not engaging your neck or your lower back. If you feel either of those, you need to adjust your position, because you're doing something wrong, and you're not going to feel good afterwards, especially if you have somebody that's significantly heavier than you working on you. So yeah, I am inverted in this case, and there's a whole lot of things I can set up, like doing triangles and arm bars. But here's the one that I'm really excited about, that I'm trying to grind out before this tournament at the end of the month, and that is actually rolling behind somebody. So if you can indulge me for a second and visualize this being the front of my training partner here, and this side being behind them. We're going to, again, go back into that K control position, shift up, and when I make an opportunity, I want to take this leg here and swing it around. So now I went from the front to the back, and anytime you got somebody's back, that's a good place to be. This reminds me of breakdancing, windmills specifically. I really like seeing all the parallels between breakdancing and grappling arts, specifically jiu-jitsu. The more I'm learning, the more I'm finding out that you can actually use a lot of breakdancing moves like backspins in particular to get into a much better position. So one more time, I'll demonstrate that. Again, I've made the mistake of working out before this, so we'll work my energy level. I'm not going to do it from the left side because that's just not my favorite. Again, foot behind the back, this knee on their chest. You can open up space, extending, pushing them way out there, which makes it really difficult for them to hit you. Definitely, you can see the distance from my face and my legs. I mean, you can hit my legs all day with your fists. I don't really care if you're kneeing me or kicking me in the legs. That's gonna suck. But yeah, hammer away with your hands. I don't care. You're using this anchor point to pull you around. You're using this leg to pull you around, and this is all momentum. Okay, this is all momentum. So you can do a wide sweep, and you want to roll over the shoulder, not over your neck. So again, a wide sweep to make it easier, and you're behind them. That's it. That's all there really is to it. I think Neil Melanson calls this a K-roll. I'm really enjoying doing all the triangles and arm bars from there, but this specifically I'm just trying to rep out because it's a sneaky one, and I don't think a whole lot of people see it coming, and it's great to be able to take somebody's back. It's just really great position to be in. Nobody likes it when you end up behind them, and quite scary for them to find out you went from this position so quickly. I don't know a whole lot of people that are practicing this one, so I'm definitely going to be doing it a whole lot more. Again, moving into a couple more more fundamental ideas about inversions and grappling. You know, obviously that stuff is performed from a controlled system. This other stuff I want to do is more about just in general getting your hips in between you and the other person. If you're working with somebody the same size as you or smaller, this is really great. But if you're working with somebody larger than you, significantly larger than you, I feel like you have to have your legs in between them, or it's only a matter of time before you're going to lose if they're a equally skilled opponent. So from there, we can do a couple things. There's a really famous MMA trainer named Firas Zahabi who's got a great video on this. Again, I'll put this in later so you can track this down, or you can also just like direct message me or get to me by phone or however you know me. And I'll get you the video citation for it. But basically, you're just taking the time to invert yourself anytime you can't beat them by turning into them. And really what I found is, so say I have, again, an opponent, partner here, and I'm not going to be able to beat his speed and coming into me this way. We'll bring Bill back. Bring Bill back. Okay. If I'm here, say he like pushed my guard out somehow and he's breaking past me, he's going into side control, he can just smash me this way, and that's not fun, especially if he gets me down on my back. But what I found, he's done. Lazy, right? What I found makes things easier is to roll away and then push your hips into that person. And one thing that I don't see anybody saying is to use your arm while you do it to push you push your hand in the same direction that the person that's aggressing on you is. So I'll show you why I think that's very important. So I was trying to follow this methodology in real world situations, or real world in training situations, and I would find myself, I had an aggressor coming this way, and I would try to put my hips in front of him, and I would go, and that was somewhat okay, but then I was still getting smashed down like that, and it just wasn't working out. It wasn't working out at all until I started engaging the hand. And it's not necessarily the hand that really does it, but it's the hand that helps me get it, and that is really to round out the spine and turn yourself into a ball. So when I push my hand in the direction of my aggressor, I find myself turning into a ball, so my back is no longer flat, and now I can roll with them, and now my hips are up in the air, and if they smash down on me, especially if I want to take one foot and put it behind me and one foot and ahead of me, in this case we'll use the pole again. So if they're in between here, all I gotta do now is turn in, and now they're back in my guard. And then I can go back into whatever system I came out from a guard. My main attacking form is from guard, so yeah, maybe I'll play from guard, or I'll go into a trapping system like rubber guard, or I'll go into that K position. Whichever I feel is more necessary. The key concept in all of this is to meet them where they are rather than trying to move them. Once again, somebody bigger, it's a war of attrition. If I'm trying to move you, that's difficult. Even if you're small, that's me pressing against another force and you pressing against me, and that's not a fight I want to fight if I can help it. But I can move me fine. I'm pretty quick, you know. Even on the floor like this, I can do all sorts of things and move all over the place. Moving me is quite easy. There's another guy that he doesn't do jiu-jitsu so much anymore. It's his damn shame, but he is doing MMA very, very rarely, because he doesn't seem to get much fights. He was like a ADCC champion for the longest time, and his name's Ryan Hall, and he's just like a leg lock expert. He's ridiculous and also great at triangles and everything on the ground, and he has the most boring fights you'll ever see, because nobody will go to the ground with him, and all he does is kick, and he doesn't know how to punch really, so he just stays long range and then goes to the ground and does all these Imanari rolls. He's quite ridiculous, but he submitted BJ Penn, who's a fantastic BJJ black belt, and it's just in like, I think it's like the first round, and it was just a ridiculous thing to watch. But Ryan Hall is probably the first person I look at that talks about inversions in BJJ, and he uses he's big on cross grip. But one of the things he talks about is the space that you own. So all this space out here is up for grabs, but in here I own this space in my little sphere of territory. So if you're probably not going to get past my legs without a whole lot of resistance, and even if I feel like you are getting away from me, if I can grab on to like an arm from on the cross grip side, or your leg, or my legs can grab you in X position, I can pretty easily invert and spin in my own space, and I'll show a little bit of that. Anytime I feel like I'm about to lose my guard and somebody's going a little bit faster than I can move sideways, I find inverting is very helpful. Particularly, if God forbid somebody gets behind me, that's a big spin for me to make. Even if I have been practicing a whole bunch of breakdancing or flair art moves a lot. It's just a lot to do. But rolling over a shoulder is a little bit easier for me to do. And again, I think that scissoring motion puts you in really good shape to catch one side or the other and spin back in. So there was I did mention Ryan Hall doesn't seem to be doing as much grappling or teaching for that matter outside of his school anymore, but there's an up and coming guy, I shouldn't say up and coming because he's been winning quite a lot, from Australia, named Lachlan Giles, who's got a lot of information on inverting out there as well, and that's from a no-gi perspective, which is really great. And if you don't know anything about gi or no-gi, that's when all the martial arts people put on their little sauna outfit, their bathrobe, and they fight each other in bathrobes. I believe that started in Japan when there was a lot of really, really rough and tumble bathrobe fights out there, so they wanted to make sure that they were ready whenever they entered the sauna to engage with somebody. I have no idea why they decided they were all going to wear these big heavy coats and do something active. That seems quite terrible and hot, and not a huge fan of it yet, but I'm gonna be competing in it here soon, so we'll see how that goes. I imagine my laundry is going to get a lot worse. I can say that much. I can go more into the martial form, I could probably do that all day. But this is going to get really long if I do that. I showed my more favorite and most fundamental pieces to get into. There's people who can get more technical and do a much better job than I can. But I covered what I think is the fundamentals of that. I showed you the cool tricks from K control, and the idea of putting your legs in front of the opponent, especially larger opponents, where that becomes increasingly more and more important, as well as retention of that by turning yourself into a ball, making sure that whenever you do it, you're not going to a flat back, but making sure you're going into a rounded back, turning yourself into a ball. So I'll go ahead and move on to just some strength and conditioning things to wrap up. And that's one of my favorite pieces. Again, I shouldn't have worked out before this, but that's okay. I'll do what I can for you. So there's a derived form of capoeira, the Brazilian dance fighting martial art. It's mostly an art rather than a martial form. Its application is quite weak, and that's understandable because the people who were originally practicing it were practicing it in shackles. So, it's for me what that is a great way to condition that also lets you get quite creative, and it also lets you practice a lot of foundational martial arts skills, and I think it's a lot of fun and a much more exciting way to work out. I don't think you can replace hard work, but you can. There's nothing that says that hard work has to be boring or unenjoyable. So one of the foundational moves of that is yes, there's bridges, which are really important in martial arts, just because of the glute activation. Really, I think a lot of where your power comes from is glutes, hips, all of your core in your lats. That gets all that twisting and develops a whole lot of power. Yes, your legs and your arms are doing a whole lot, but really, when there's an idea of moving a couch. Moving a couch is quite difficult on your own, but if you add another person, or a few people for that matter, it gets quite easy. So why not bring your friends along? This chain of muscles from your starting at the very base of your lower body and the core parts of your torso. Recruit them along to not just make your punches and your kicks and all that more powerful, but give you more endurance, give you more balance, let you perform in a safer manner that's going to prevent you from injuring yourself. Just get all that stuff involved, and bridges are a great thing for that. Obviously, there's the shoulder bridge. Again, we're taking our inversion, and this definition is going to be heart over our head, and again, we're gonna let a little bit more blood flow go to our head, and you'll probably see me start to get flushed and red interesting benefit that I've also heard about inversions, which may or may not be true. I'm not banking on it by any means, but it's said that having increased blood flow to the head will also increase your hair follicle production, which makes sense. But I mean, how much are you actually doing that? So yeah, that's a relatively basic, move that you're going to use in Floreo art. It's really about just getting the spine ready, because there's a whole lot of spinal twist in that. And you can get more into some more spectacular acrobatic stuff as you go along with that. But you gotta warm that up. That's very important. But there's one thing I think that many people will enjoy. That's really simple if you don't think about it too much, which is QDR push-up. If you're bored with push-ups, and I can't get enough, but I love doing new ones. The QDR push-up, which is an acronym for something Portuguese that's like Casa del Rey or something like that. You're going into a crouched position like this, falling to your hands. I put on wrist wraps just because doing this over and over again does wear on my wrists. Same with handstands and anything where you put a lot of pressure on your wrists. I recommend it. They're cheap, and there's no reason not to do it. And if you get an injury on your wrist, it's probably going to recur over and over and over again, because you use your hands a lot, likely. I digress. So, falling to your hands, you're going to turn your hips. So I'm going to put my hip on my elbow. I'm going to rest it on my elbow. Okay? So we're getting a little bit of an inversion here. Yes. That gets that's just the start. That's a basic movement there. To elbow, and you can do it with your hands, your feet planted. You can even do it with your knees on the ground, and your head on the ground, or you can do it with your head up. And I'll do it from this angle as well. Hip down here. And as we get more advanced, we're going to take that turn to a more extreme level each time. Yeah. Let's see how much my energy will hold up for today. But I think we're going to be able to do it. More fun one. Going again. Hips, head to the ground. And we'll take our feet off for a second. We need to do those more often. But you can see how they get more and more fun. There's a whole lot of different variations you can do with those. You can even do circles. And hopefully I warmed up my back for this. I'm sure I can get one on camera, but I might pay for it later. I'll back this up. So instead of taking my legs up, engaging my core while I'm going prone like that, I'm going to take my feet and try to walk them around. Let me check that angle real quick. Oh shit. Okay. So last thing, hips down. We're going to walk our feet through, and we're just walking
through that into our bridge.